Thank you, ma'am. And finally, we will hear from the Governor of Maryland, Wes Moore.
Good evening. Good evening. Thank you so much, Jason. When you get MCs like Jason Newton and our tag, General Burkhead, you know this is the right kind of crowd. We're thankful for their leadership, and I also want to say welcome back to Baltimore to the BEYA conference. I was speaking to General Wilkinson, who was telling me that it was actually in D.C. for a while. Tyrone Taborn, I just want to say congratulations and thank you for all your leadership, sir. From my understanding, this is bigger than any of the D.C. events, correct? All right, just want to make note. That's how we do in Maryland. And I know it's always, something seemingly obligatory where governors will come to conferences and say thank you for coming here, and they'll thank you for staying in hotels and eating at restaurants and go shopping. And I want you to do that too. Please stay at hotels and please eat at restaurants. But I want to thank you because this is personal. In this room, I see people who I admire and respect. I see people who understand what the word sacrifice means. I see people who understand inherently what it means to be a patriot and what it means to fight for something bigger than yourself. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything that you do to make our country not just strong and secure, but continue making it worth fighting for. And I thank you for all you continue to do. To all of our military and civilian leaders here, to our chair, General Brown, Secretary Kendall, our senior enlisted advisor, Tony Whitehead, and also to the Mayor of Baltimore, who I know is here right now, and to our remarkable congressman who represents the area, my friend, Congressman Kwesi Mfume. It is great to be with you always, sir. And also, I'd be remiss if I didn't give a special shout out to this table. As an old soldier myself, I cannot tell you how inspirational seeing this lead table is for me. Because this lead table does not just represent excellence. This lead table reminds me that we are never in a room that we don't belong in. That the shoulders that we stand on are broad, and the people who make access to those tables, they put in the work. And I want to thank you for reminding me and reminding so many others who will come after us that there is never a room that they don't belong in, that they are never in a room because of benevolence or kindness. They're in that room because the room would be incomplete if they were not there. And so to this lead table, bless you and thank you for all you do. And I want to just also thank this room for all the work that you all continue to do to emphasize two leading pillars for our state, and that's service and science. You know, I think about this idea and that combination of both those two things. I first joined the Army when I was 17 years old. I wasn't old enough to sign the paperwork. My mother had to sign the paperwork for me. But as the congressman will vouch for, when I was 17, after my teenage years, my mom would sign whatever paperwork that the Army put in front of her. But I remember when I first joined the military, and I first had a chance to deploy. I deployed with the 82nd Airborne Division to Afghanistan. Oh, all right, we got some super duper paratroopers in here, huh? But I remember, airball all the way. But I remember that there was always assumptions by people when we came home. And oftentimes assumptions by people who were not part of our community, who were not working or interacting with our community, who thought that folks in the service, that this was more almost like robots. It was following orders. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. How high should I jump? Almost like everything was robotic, without a full appreciation of the true entrepreneurial nature of the work that we did and the sacrifice we made. Knowing that the only guarantee about Tuesday was that it was going to look nothing like Monday, and you had to adapt and adjust. The idea that react to contact just became something that we inherently learned how to do. And so it shouldn't be any surprise to anybody who's had exposure to our community and exposure to our work that some of the greatest innovations and some of the greatest entrepreneurs and some of the greatest thought leaders and some of the greatest drivers of our economy have something in common. They have all worn or they have all worked with people who have worn the uniform of this country. Because service and science are inextricably linked. We don't have the internet if it's not for the military. We don't have penicillin if it's not for the military. There is no military without STEM, and there is no STEM without the military. And so it's no coincidence that in the greatest state in the country, the state of Maryland, we have both military assets and we have some of the best scientific assets in the entire country. You cannot understand Maryland's leadership without understanding the contributions of our scientific community. You cannot understand military leadership in cyber without understanding the role of Fort Meade. You cannot understand military's leadership in medicine without understanding the role of Fort Detrick. And by the way, just for those who don't know, Baltimore is also the home of Fort McHenry and where the Star Spangled Banner was first written. So you're welcome, America, for that too. Because in Maryland, we build bridges. In Maryland, we strengthen partnerships. In Maryland, we make sure that all parts of our society is seen and heard. And it's going to position this state to win the decade. We want to make Maryland the best state in the country to build a career in STEM, and we want to build a career and a future in STEM that looks like the beautiful mosaic that is the state of Maryland. We want to make Maryland the best state to be able to serve your community and serve your country. We want to make Maryland the best state in the world to change the world. We want to make Maryland the best state in the nation to start a business, and not just industries of the present, but in industries of the future. But to get there, we know we're going to need the support of everybody in this room. Our military leaders, our award winners, our students, our entrepreneurs. Because tonight is not just a celebration of people who made history. Tonight is a recognition of the history that still needs to be made. Tonight is a recognition that we need to celebrate and invest in the people who will continue to write our history. That's what we do. We battle and we win. And so I'm grateful that you all chose Maryland. I'm grateful that you all chose Baltimore. I'm grateful that you chose to serve. God bless you guys, and thank you so much for all you continue to do.